Hey there, brave viewers. You clicked on this, so I guess that means you're ready to get spooked. I'm your host for this spooky ride through America's most haunted hotspots. Places so creepy, they make your average haunted Chuck E. Cheese look like a day at Disneyland. We're talking about the kind of places where the walls whisper, the shadows move, and the ghosts, well, they don't just like to play nice. Buckle up, buttercups, because we're diving headfirst into the chilling tales and bone-chilling encounters that have left even the biggest skeptics, cough Ryan cough, sleeping with the lights on. From haunted hotels with phantom bellhops to abandoned asylums with restless spirits, we're leaving no tombstone unturned. So, grab your EMF readers, your holy water, whatever you need to feel safe, because things are about to get creepy. You sure you're ready for this? Because once you step into the world of the unknown, there's no turning back. Don't say I didn't warn you. Our first stop takes us to the breathtaking yet unsettling landscapes of Colorado, to a place that inspired one of the greatest horror novels ever written, the Stanley Hotel. Built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, this grand hotel has a chilling history. Rumor has it that Mr. Stanley and his wife, Flora, never truly checked out. They're said to roam the halls, playing phantom piano tunes in the dead of night. Just another Tuesday at the Stanley, am I right? Now, let's talk about the room that chilled the spines of millions and inspired Stephen King's The Shining, room 217. Legend has it that this room is haunted by the ghost of a former housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, who met an untimely end during a thunderstorm. Apparently, Elizabeth's not one to hold a grudge because she's known to unpack bags for unsuspecting guests, make the beds, even tuck you in at night. Hey, some people appreciate a little extra service, but don't get too comfy because guests have reported feeling icy cold spots, witnessing flickering lights, and even being touched or pushed by an unseen force. I don't know about you, but I prefer my housekeepers a little less hands-on. The Stanley Hotel stands as a testament to the idea that some stories never truly end, they just linger. So if you ever find yourself checking in, maybe pack an extra pair of pants and a nightlight. You've been warned. Alright, ghost hunters, buckle up. Our next stop is the creepy Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia. Imagine a place where the walls whisper with the anguish of forgotten souls. Built in 1829, this prison is now one of the most haunted places in the world. Guards and visitors report disembodied voices and unexplained footsteps, even full-bodied apparitions of former inmates. Now, every good haunted prison has its own personal hotspot, and for Eastern State, that dubious honor goes to Cell Block 12. This is where things get really interesting or really terrifying depending on how you see it. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported experiencing intense feelings of nausea, overwhelming dread, and even witnessing shadowy figures darting between the cells. It's like a ghostly rave in there, but instead of glow sticks, they have chains and despair. One of the most famous stories involves a team of paranormal investigators who captured what appeared to be a shadowy figure lurking in one of the cells on camera. And this wasn't just some blurry, easily dismissed blob, this was a full-on humanoid figure just hanging out in the darkness. So if you're brave enough to venture into Cell Block 12, be prepared for a sensory overload of the paranormal kind. Just remember, if you hear someone whispering your name from the darkness, it's probably not a friendly ghost wanting to know if you've seen their keys. Buckle up, we're heading deep into Louisiana. The Myrtles Plantation, built in 1796, is said to be on an ancient Indian burial ground. Tragedy followed it through the years. Stories of poisonings, shootings, and revolts. No wonder it's one of America's most haunted places. One of the most famous stories from the Myrtles involves a young slave girl named Chloe. Chloe, caught eavesdropping, had her ear cut off as punishment. Seeking revenge, she poisoned a cake meant for the owner. Instead, his wife and daughters died. Chloe was hanged, and her ghost is said to haunt the mirrors. Some claim to see her reflection, ear missing, in photographs. Okay folks, if you thought the Myrtles was a downer, hold on to your hats because we're about to dive into Waverly Hills Sanatorium. A place so steeped in sadness and despair, it'll make you want to take a long, hot shower. See, back in the early 1900s, tuberculosis, or, as they called it back then, consumption, was running rampant. It was a death sentence, really, and people were desperate for a cure. So, they built Waverly Hills, this massive sanatorium in Kentucky, hoping to isolate and treat the sick. Problem was, back then, they didn't really know how to treat tuberculosis. Treatments were experimental, often painful, and let's just say, not always successful. The death toll at Waverly Hills was staggering. They say bodies were carted out through a tunnel, known as the body chute, to keep the other patients from losing hope. I mean, can you imagine? Now, with that much death and suffering concentrated in one place, it's no surprise that Waverly Hills is said to be crawling with paranormal activity. People have reported seeing shadowy figures roaming the halls, hearing disembodied voices and screams, and feeling cold spots that would make a polar bear shiver. There's the story of Timmy, a young boy who loved to play with a ball, said to still be roaming the halls. Then there's room 502, where a pregnant nurse allegedly hung herself after discovering she had contracted tuberculosis. Visitors and investigators alike report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and despair in that room. Waverly Hills has been featured on just about every paranormal investigation show out there. Ghost hunters, ghost adventures, you name it. It's even been the subject of a few horror movies. And you know what that means? It's the real deal, folks. Alright, let's set sail from the land of the living and board a ship that's said to be a floating city of ghosts. That's right, we're talking about the Queen Mary, a majestic ocean liner docked in Long Beach, California. Now this isn't your average haunted house, folks. This is a haunted ship, which is somehow even creepier if you ask me. The Queen Mary was once the epitome of luxury. I'm talking champagne wishes, caviar dreams, the whole 9 yards. But like a first-class ticket to a horror movie, things weren't always smooth sailing. During World War II, she was converted into a troop ship, ferrying soldiers across the Atlantic. It's said that the ship was so overcrowded that men were sleeping in shifts, stacked like cordwood. Now imagine the energy, the fear, the sadness, all crammed into this metal vessel. Is it any wonder that some of those emotions might linger? Over the years, there have been countless reports of strange and unexplained occurrences aboard the Queen Mary. Footsteps echoing in empty corridors, doors slamming shut on their own, and disembodied voices whispering on the wind. It's like a nautical version of the Overlook Hotel, but with more shuffleboard and less axe-wielding maniacs. One of the most famous ghosts is Sarah, a young girl who drowned in the ship's first-class pool. Visitors have reported hearing her laughter and splashing sounds coming from the now empty pool area. Then there's door 13, a doorway that's been welded shut after a sailor was crushed to death behind it. People claim to feel a cold chill and a sense of dread near the sealed door. And that's not even scratching the surface of all the spooky tales associated with the Queen Mary. It's a veritable buffet of paranormal activity, and trust me, you'll want to pack your skepticism-busting appetite. Alright, buckle up folks, because we're heading to sunny California, but we're not talking beaches and sunshine here. We're diving headfirst into the Winchester Mystery House, a place so chock full of strange vibes, it would make a Ouija board look like a child's toy. Sarah Winchester kept building and rebuilding for almost 40 years. Staircases to nowhere, doors that opened to brick walls, all to confuse the spirits haunting her. The Winchester Mystery House stands as a monument to the weird and unexplained. Now, you can't talk about the Winchester Mystery House without talking about the ghosts. I mean, this place is practically lousy with them. There's the one-legged handyman in the basement, and Sarah Winchester herself, roaming the halls in her black morning dress. Visitors claim to feel her presence, cold spots, whispers or reflections, footsteps, disembodied voices, and music from a long-gone piano, enough to make even skeptics sleep with the lights on. One of the most haunted spots is the seance room. Sarah held seances to communicate with the dead. You don't build a seance room unless you're serious. Visitors report cold spots, strange lights, and unseen touches. For ghost hunters, it's like Disneyland for the dead. Is the Winchester Mystery House truly haunted? There's enough weirdness to make you wonder. Even if you don't see a ghost, the architecture is worth it. And that's gotta be worth something, right? From one haunted house to a haunted cave. We're heading to Tennessee where shadows whisper and trees hold their breath. The Bell Witch Cave, steeped in legend, makes haunted houses look tame. The Bell Witch, a malevolent entity, tormented a family for years. Full-on poltergeist activity, scratching, noises, objects moving. Some say the Bell Witch was Kate Batts, cheated out of land by John Bell. People come from all over hoping for a glimpse of the supernatural. Even standing outside, you feel a heaviness in the air. Not saying I believe in ghosts, but I wouldn't spend the night here. So what can you expect if you decide to brave the Bell Witch Cave? For centuries, this place has been feared and revered. The cave is a natural wonder with winding passages and eerie silence. But it's the stories and whispers of the past that get to you. Visitors report strange phenomena, disembodied voices, whispers, and the feeling of being watched. Some claim to have been touched or scratched by unseen hands. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, this place has a certain energy. The Bell Witch Cave is a place where the veil between worlds feels thin. It's a place that will stay with you long after you've left. Let's talk about a house that needs no introduction. 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York. This place is practically synonymous with haunted houses. The Lutz family moved into this Dutch colonial in December 1975, only to flee weeks later. They reported strange smells, cold spots, and objects moving on their own. The Amityville horror became a legend, inspiring books, movies, and documentaries. How much of the Amityville horror is true? The Lutz family's story has been debated for decades. Some believe it was a hoax, others think it was real. Skeptics point to inconsistencies, but strange occurrences persist. The Amityville horror remains a fascinating, terrifying mystery. Alright, let's talk about the Villisca Axe murder house. Picture this. Iowa 1912, it's a peaceful summer night, right? Wrong. This place was the scene of a gruesome, unsolved crime that still chills people to the bone. A whole family, parents and their 4 kids, were brutally murdered in their sleep with an axe. I mean, talk about a rough way to wake up. The details are so brutal, so disturbing, that even I, a seasoned paranormal investigator, get a little creeped out thinking about it. The truly unsettling part? The killer was never caught. Imagine the terror, the uncertainty hanging over the town, knowing that whoever did this was still out there. It's no wonder this house became a beacon for paranormal activity. The residual energy here must be off the charts. I mean, we're talking about 6 souls, taken way too soon, their peace disrupted in the most violent way imaginable. You almost have to wonder if their energy is trapped here, looking for some kind of resolution. Now this place is open for tours, yeah. You can even spend the night if you're brave or crazy enough. But let me tell you, it's not for the faint of heart. People have reported all sorts of strange happenings in that house. Unexplained noises, cold spots, and even the feeling of being touched. Some say they've heard the faint cries of children echoing through the halls. Others claim to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the darkened rooms. Look, I don't scare easily, but something about this place just gets under your skin, you know? So, if you do decide to visit the Villisca Axe murder house, and I'm not saying you should, just be prepared. Be respectful. This isn't just some spooky tourist trap, it's a place where tragedy unfolded, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to finally help those trapped souls find some peace. Or you know, you'll just be really creeped out. Either way, sounds like a Tuesday to me. Let's talk about a place steeped in darkness, a chilling reminder of the capacity for human cruelty. The LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans. This place is like a magnet for bad vibes, and it all stems from the horrific acts of its former resident, Madame Delphine LaLaurie. Now, this wasn't your typical socialite. Behind her charming facade, she was a monster who tortured and murdered countless slaves in the 1830s. We're talking unspeakable acts of cruelty that would make even the most hardened criminal squirm. The attic of this house was basically a torture chamber. When a fire broke out in 1834, firefighters stumbled upon a scene that would forever be etched in New Orleans' nightmare-chained and mutilated bodies, evidence of unimaginable suffering. Madame LaLaurie managed to escape justice, but the horrors she inflicted left an indelible stain on the mansion. It's no surprise that this place is considered one of the most haunted in America. Over the years, there have been countless reports of paranormal activity at the LaLaurie mansion. People claim to hear screams, moans, and the rattling of chains coming from the attic. Some say they've seen apparitions of the tortured souls seeking solace, or maybe revenge. Even those just passing by have reported feeling a sense of dread, a heaviness in the air. It's like the very walls of the mansion are soaked in the pain and suffering inflicted within its walls. Look, I'm not saying I believe in ghosts, but if there's any place they're going to hang out, it's going to be somewhere like this. A place where the veil between the living and the dead feels paper thin. The LaLaurie mansion stands as a chilling reminder of our capacity for both good and evil. It's a place where history and horror collide, and it's a location that continues to fascinate and terrify those brave enough to step inside. Well, there you have it, folks. 10 of the most haunted places in America. I hope you enjoyed this little tour through the dark side of history, even if it did make you sleep with the lights on. Thanks for joining us on this eerie adventure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling content. And remember, if you ever visit any of these haunted places, keep your eyes and ears open. You never know what you might encounter. Stay spooky.